not wearing pants. Don't do it yet.
You presume I've ever worn pants while doing bad fanfiction night.
Joke's on you.
You don't know when somebody just is naked to ban fanfiction night. You can't presume that. People have clothing.
There is a clear dress code here that strictly prohibits pants.
Am I the only one who shows up to these
class
things wearing
give your
clothes?
presentation. Everybody's gonna laugh at you.
That's the trick. No one actually comes to bad fanfiction night with clothes.
Oh. I'm no one.
Also, I love how the quote you made for me in the Tundra, you cut it off at just, you presume that I've ever worn pants. Oh.
Can confirm he came to Canada with no pants on. It was very awkward for everybody.
Yeah, it wouldn't let us pants through
So it's
customs.
like, hey, the signs say
There's
no
a-
shirt, no shoes, no service. Didn't say
Says
anything
nothing
about
about pants. That's very fair. I know this isn't fanfiction, but it's so bad. Why not Ruby Arrowfell? Unless it's part of the new fixing season, and it does take place in that season. Oh God, Ruby Arrowfell does qualify as bad fanfiction, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's the boring kind of bad fanfiction. So,
Dang.
man, Way Forward really, I feel so bad for them. Like they accepted that game. They accepted making that game. They didn't have to, but they did.
Yeah. Real tragedy is that we didn't get a Devil May Cry / Bayonetta type game out of that, because Ruby would be.
Well, why would we?
chef's
It's Way
kiss.
Forward. They make the Shantae franchise. That's not their forte. Is nothing anywhere close to a DMC or a Bayonetta or a Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah, but they still should have done a better platformer than they did.
Oh, no! You can tell they did not put their A team onto that at all. They,
Didn't Shammy's video point out that none of the enemies even have AI?
What is that?
Ooh.
What is
Wait,
that? How
they
does
don't?
that? What does that mean?
That they
Shammy made a
don't
video?
react to what the player does. They're just on rails.
Also, Shammy
Did
did a
they
video.
say-
I have not seen anything from Shammy in forever. When did he do that?
A while ago.
Back when the game came out.
It's what, like 2 years ago now?
Ooh, and did that really come out in 2022?
It came out before Volume 9, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to have been in 2022 then, because Volume 9 came out early 2023.
No, not the wiki. Release date. Fucking
No wiki, only release date.
yeah.
Sorry for
November
getting off into the
15th.
tangent. We're letting people spill in here because apparently no one else can read times, even though I clearly
Apparently
said,
not.
hey, we're starting in 10 minutes, and no one was in here 2 minutes before we
I was
started.
trying to get in here, but I had to make something.
It starts every single, like the same time every single week.
Yeah, I'm. Don't worry. I'm just looking derisively down at everyone down my nose. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you expect me to know what day of the week it is?
Sorry, I was busy enjoying a pork chop.
Okay, that's.
Oh.
You see, why can't you
That's
have a
the
good
only good
excuse like
excuse.
lightning? Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to Bad Fanfiction Night, and also especially welcome Billy Donuts. Yeah.
Check your systems.
Woo, donuts.
But today we are voting on what we are going to be reading next, because we haven't decided yet, and we're going to let the community in. So I'm going to actually get the link to this straw poll that I have made. I guess
Just made out of straws.
share, copy, close.
Wait, when you said community, you meant any viewers on YouTube,
Anyone
right?
here and anyone on YouTube. Yep.
No, only the actors who played a part in Community.
It'll be
Okay.
posting it in the live chat now. There you guys go. Feel free as we go through, because we're gonna talk through a couple of the options that we have here, because some of them we're familiar with, some of them we're not, and some of them we don't
Yep.
exactly know what they are. They're just kind of been handed to us, and we're not entirely sure. So yes, we're looking at quite a few options here. I just realized which one's at the top of the list, and that one's kind of an embarrassing one to talk about.
Oh.
So if you scroll down and look at this list,
we can only pick.
you can
so
only
many?
pick 5. I'm making sure everyone's limited. Top of this list is a Teen Titans fanfic that I have read. In fact, it's one of the earliest fanfics that I ever read and ever considered "quote unquote" good. I looked back at it now that I'm an adult, and I say that very intentionally because it does get into smut. So it's an interesting one in terms of just like, I used to think this was good. That makes me feel bad about myself type situation. The next one on the list is one that we were actually in the middle of reading called The Legend of Zelda Super Sailor Moon, or Super Sailor Moon Legend of Zelda, something like that. It's what it says on the tin. It's a Sailor Moon Legend of Zelda crossover by Maikan, the Daikari King. Who is
An episodic
one.
crossover.
And we got through 10 chapters. I think I have a total of 50. It's a long
Didn't we
one.
go through 11?
It is, and we might have gotten through 11 or 12, something like that. But it's a long one. We had to cut out. We had to cut our losses. We promised to get back to it at some point, but my God, it just was a lot.
Yeah, and it really is a long Sailor Moon-esque episodic show, because he doesn't know how to write actual books. He only knows how to simulate TV shows.
Yeah.
Also, he was copy paste from a walkthrough for Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was
What?
hilarious. That was such a hilarious discovery.
Yeah.
Then also, he has a plethora of other Digimon-related fanfics. We've read one of them so far. Of his work, we've read a Digimon one, we've read a Teen Titans one, and we've read the Sailor Moon Legend of Zelda one. We've completed the other two, not the Sailor Moon Legend of Zelda one, because by that point we were just tired. he wore us out. But maybe we'll vote for it. Maybe we'll come back to it this time. We'll see. There's a cowboy. We're going over all the voting options. It's in the voice chat.
It's not about you. If you needed to know, you should have come in sooner.
Yes. We're all
Sorry.
staring at you very derisively. It's great.
Context clues. Use them.
I've kind of distracted recently.
So next up,
I don't.
there's a Cowboy Bebop fanfiction. I actually know nothing about it or really Cowboy Bebop other than some of the surface level stuff that's been talked about. So that one again out of my depth on. There's a one about the original X-Men movie franchise. There is a Happy Days crossover with the Justice League.
Yep.
What?
How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's a
over
thing
Aquaman.
that has actually happened at some point.
I remember the Maikan Teen Titans one was the fic that got me to make this picture.
Oh no.
Yes.
No.
Your Hellcat 6.
I remember that.
The Cougars and the Mountain
Oh,
Lions.
That was a gem.
Yes.
that was the best part.
God, I was on a walk and I was thinking about the other day and I was just laughing in the middle of it. Like I was in the middle. People would probably look at me like I was listening to something on my headphones. People probably thought I heard something really funny on that. No, I was just laughing to this thing that happened months ago.
As you do.
They ask, "Hey, what's up?" You wouldn't get it.
There's
You
Moon
wouldn't
Daughter.
believe me if I told you.
There's Moon
I
Daughter
could
by
be like,
from the Percy Jackson franchise, which I don't know anything about. I've only seen the first Percy Jackson film. Yes, the one that everyone calls bad. So,
Oh boy.
yeah. Then there's one that we actually read a couple of his fics because he's just kind of an interesting case study in kind of a harmless person that's writing to themselves. There's an author that just really wants a mommy really badly. And so he writes stories about like a lot of characters becoming mothers and being very warm and kind to their children. like
that's another one that I forgot to put on the list, I think, technically, which is My Brave Pony, Starfleet Magic.
oh,
Thank
is
you
that
for reminding me
is
about
that
that.
another Daikari Maikan?
How
Yes.
weird is the mother stuff?
Um,
How
but-
weird is the mother
That
stuff?
sounds brilliant.
oh, it's I mean, honestly, it's just kind of cringy, but at the same time, like the reason why I'm not like really harsh on it, it's clearly the guy's just kind of off in his own lane and having a good time with it. And you know what? Good on him. I don't really like coming back to
Okay,
him
good.
because I don't want to make fun of him for something that's just clearly his thing, but you know.
It's like one of those really tame kinks. It's like a kink on the level of holding your hand is considered smut kind of kink.
Yeah, it's like
But why though?
The dirtiest of
Look,
all minds.
we just finished an entire deconstruction of a girl that had massive daddy problems, and you're asking why someone might write a fanfic about wanting a mommy in some way, shape, or form.
No, not
Yes.
no,
Oh no.
not that. I meant the holding hands. Why is that convinced?
Because some
Looking
people are
at the live
sheltered.
result, not looking good.
Some people are really sheltered.
Some people are really sheltered. Some people just
Ah.
have a whole thing about touching. Like, look, everyone's got their own thing going on. Don't judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a Digimon Amazon fanfic by Robert Lee Brown that's been sold and is, to my understanding, still being sold as an actual book on Amazon.
Yes.
Wait. What?
And apparently it is $60 if you want to buy it legitimately.
Yeah.
That's pricey.
Then there's The Hunchback of Notre
Give us
Dame fanfic by Furlough Freak.
Not my pick.
Which is an entire franchise of fanfics that are all about the time-traveling misadventures of the woman named Furlough Freak and her adoring love of Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Don't forget that she is a Southern black woman from the 90s.
No. I want to clarify. She is not, in fact, a Southern woman from a Southern black woman. She's from Indiana. She ain't South.
Yeah, she's
Okay, fair enough.
She
This
puts
ain't
on a
Texas.
Southern
No,
accent
her-
regularly.
I guess we're to Canada, right?
Indiana, that's honorary South, I think.
There's some
Oh,
areas
no.
of
No, it's not.
There's some areas of Indiana where if you really, really squinted, you would think you were in the South because of how they act. up
Okay,
there.
I want to clarify. She's from
And you don't-
Indianapolis.
Oh,
Hell no.
But she still writes her character like she's from the South.
She writes her character. Well, I mean, yes, but she also she writes moments where her character just suddenly drops into like stereotypical like black Southern twang. It's
Yeah.
it makes it very uncomfortable to read sometimes. It's like
as someone who is from
Freaking-
Texas, I know exactly what that sounds like.
Freaking
Yeah.
sugar britches.
I'm from
Oh,
South Carolina.
God,
I'm so
yeah.
insulted just even considering Indiana from the South.
You know,
Um,
I actually played Quasimodo in a Hunchback of Notre Dame play just to flex.
you play-
Anyway, but
I don't think playing Quasimodo is quite the flex thing it is.
Hey,
hey, it was really-
guys, we're in a live stream and for Bad Fanfiction Night. We don't need you guys to go off on a million tangents every single time that we say a sentence.
Yeah.
okay.
So then we have Star Trek Marissa story, which I can't quite remember what that one. I remember we had the premise. Like, do you remember what the premise of that one was?
I think that is some sort of infamous fanfic. Like it's not as infamous as like the Mary Sue or anything like that, but
it's
it's kind of up there.
There's Megamat09, who's just a bad novelist apparently. You'll notice that we have slowly started to like run out of fan fiction how long we've been doing this. But who is streaming their camera?
Doesn't feel like
Oh.
we've been doing it this
Get
long.
that crap out of here.
Well, I mean,
Huh?
Guts?
Guts,
okay?
Guts, you're streaming your camera. I don't know if you want that on my live stream. I don't think it's on the live stream, but Lord help you if it winds up on it. I'm not going to take responsibility for that. Good
Look,
call.
There's a lot of fanfic out there that can be considered bad.
Yes.
Sorry,
it
I
would
did
be-
not know
it
my
would
timer was on. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Didn't know
It's
it
all
was on. Okay.
It will take a long time to figure out which are the actual like bad fanfics, and we would have to probably do a bit of reading on that.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of the fanfics that are considered infamous, that aren't My Immortal and My Inner Life, a lot of them are like up there in the NC-17 rating, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are like not safe for life.
I mean, to be fair, My Immortal. To be fair, we read one that there's the legendary Sailor Moon fanfic we had to eject out of. I always reference back to.
Most of them are on that level, Raymond.
That is an impressive level to immediately. Yeah, there are pony fics. Like, we're never going to, I don't think, ever read Lily Orchard's pony fic on this.
Ooh.
Because I'm pretty sure some of that contains content that, like, I would legitimately just pour bleach in my eyes at that point.
The whole premise is that content, fam.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just straight up that thing that we don't
Yeah.
like talking about.
So what you're saying is, it's more mediocre fan fiction than just straight up bad fan fiction.
There are some mediocre like, basically a lot of bad fan fiction is boring bad. Like, you got to be careful with that. We went into it, so we'll run into that occasionally. We'll trip over it. Like, a good example is probably the Trigun fic, which I can't remember exactly. I remember I'm the one that suggested it. It's been so long since I read it, but I just remember it being weak at best. Full Moon wo Sagashite X Sonic, which is a Twilight recommendation because she hates Full Moon wo Sagashite. There's a Trigun Bebop crossover that's apparently bad. There are two that are strictly off limits because we're just tired of them. There's God's Not Dead with Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a chapter 2.
God.
There are 6 chapters total. It took us like several weeks to get through chapter 1. We're not going back to that anytime soon. Well, maybe we'll see.
I was
We'll
good for
see.
that.
The Ables 2, we're not reading for a while. We just finished reading the Ables 1. Ables 1 was a slog. There's a Kingdom Hearts Rick and Morty, a Rick X Sora crossover. So I guess Rick Sanchez.
I don't know if it's a Rick and Morty crossover. All I know is that I'm pretty sure that it's actually Sora and Riku.
Oh.
But for some reason they call him Rick.
You mean Patrick?
That's not good.
We've gone too far.
There's some Kingdom Hearts shorts. I mean, some of these I'm not sure what they are. There's a Peter Pan fan fiction. There's the Glint Saga by Lillian Farron. Sorry, Lilith Farron, not Lillian. Lilith Farron, who is the other Lil who is incredibly toxic. Twice.
Also, Kaiser and I tried to read Glint Saga and tried to do like a reaction to it, and we gave up after I think like 6 chapters.
Oh God, that's a bad sign. What are your thoughts?
It's so boring.
What are your thoughts on the movie Deadpool and Wolverine? I've not seen it. I have not seen it. I actually am not up to date on a lot of films. I have been staying away from the movie theaters for a long while because nothing has really interested me.
Fair.
Madoka X Kamen Rider is one that was, I believe, suggested by Luby. There's a Pokemon self-insert fic called True Friends. There's a Sailor Moon / Batman crossover. There's a All Dogs Go to Heaven Bloody Holiday one-shot.
Wait, what?
I do not know what that means. I'm actually kind of curious about that one, even though it's been a long while since I've seen All Dogs Go to Heaven, to the point where I don't remember a thing about it.
It's
That movie made me cry.
There's a lot of blood in it.
Well, I would assume so. I'm still going to vote for that, though. There's a Ruby OPOC. I mean, that's like 50% of Ruby fanfics. There's a Cyborg Tinkerer by Meg Latore.
Latour.
it's an actual novel. There's a Ruby Kingdom Hearts miscellaneous parody. There's a story.
I have no idea if it's a parody or not. I just glanced in there, and I saw them talking to George R.R. Martin, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh God.
Wait, which one is this? I'm voting for it right now.
There's a story that was written apparently by Canon Seeker, who, if you're familiar at all with our channel, you know he's been kind of a notorious member of the community. Not our community, of the Ruby community in general, and several other communities.
What did he do?
Dude, we'd be here all day.
Annoying.
What didn't he do?
His rap
Sora
sheet
Heart.
is a mile long.
didn't
Trust
he
me
do-
when I say he's bad news.
Sora Hart says, "I think Lily Orchard and Lilith is one person." We have had that suspicion as well, but they actually sound distinct. They're both different types of stupid.
Yeah.
Very similar lines, but both definitely different.
Also, Lilith doesn't have a thing about siblings, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would actually despise each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Draco trilogy by Cassandra Clare.
Yes, that one.
It's another one that I'm not familiar with, other than just notoriety. Master of the Universe by E.L. James. That one, that name,
one.
I'm a little more familiar with.
popularly known as
Did you find it?
Yes, I found it.
Found all
Oh,
of your
damn.
Look, the internet is forever. That's me.
There's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yaros, a novel.
That's considered bad?
Yeah.
It is? Oh, okay, all right.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah,
It's
it's
like in different circles than you.
Batman walks in and is like, "Wait, no, I thought it was good," and it's just like, "Oh no!"
Look,
everyone that I know who has walked into Fourth Wing says that it's really bad at worst and enjoyably bad at best.
Oh, that's a good sign.
There is no way that anyone has actually considered Fourth Wing actually good, unless if they are so brain dead from masturbation that they don't know what quality is anymore.
Bold statement. All right,
Fucking
so
bars.
finishing off this list, we have Sith Resurgence by Lily Orchard, who anyone that's been watching the Team Jack streams, you know we've been covering her. There's Interstellar Marines by Joseph Anderson, which intrigues me for a number of different reasons. I don't know if it's bad per se, but we'll see. I know there's a mix of things on that, a mix of opinions on
So
that
shot in the dark.
one. And
Joseph
then-
Anderson, the guy who did that really long the God of War video?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or the Fallout 76 one.
Joseph Anderson is a hit or miss media critic. He's the one that most legendarily ended up destroying the reputation of Soma, because he just didn't fucking understand it.
Yeah.
That's like his most notoriously bad review, but he's had good ones too. Like he had a really good coverage of whatever happened to Edith Finch. I thought his review of that was really good. Then there's The Handbook for Mortals by Lani Saram, which is also another novel. So those
Lainey
are your options.
Saram.
Lainey Saram.
But you could probably call her Lonnie because she hates it when you pronounce her name wrong, and nobody cares.
Nice.
Let's see. What should I vote for? So everyone vote. Everyone put your votes in to and we'll see what the results are. I imagine a lot of people already voted. Let's see the results.
So I can give a short description of Handbook for Mortals. I will say
Where do I vote? Sorry. Where do I vote? Sorry, I don't know where I vote.
Link,
there is a link
scroll up in the chat.
in the description. All you have to do is just use your
It's not
use
in
your
the
mouse.
description.
and
I gotta put it in the description.
Wait. Sorry, description. Wait, is it in the server announcements? I clicked on the link before. I just didn't see it. Sorry.
It's all good.
Check voice chat.
I'll put it back into the live
Oh.
chat again, just for everyone's convenience.
Oh.
I didn't want to put it in
Live.
the description because like I don't have a time limit on it, so I don't know if it's ever going to expire. I don't want people
Oh,
voting
straw
on this
poll. Got it. Thank
years
you.
later.
Anyway, Handbook for Mortals is what I would describe as less competently written than Fourth Wing, but just as bad. But also, you don't have the benefit of getting turned on by it, because I'm pretty sure that there is no sex scenes in it. It is a story about a girl who has magical powers who wants to leave her one-horse town and become a magician in Vegas.
Just one horse?
And she does it.
Yeah, and she does it. Like, immediately. First try.
Sounds like a shitty B movie.
Yeah. Also, Sarah...
What did you say about the B movie?
No, I like a B movie.
Dude, that's the joke. You realize that the movie is named that way as a pun, right?
No.
Okay, well, now I know that. Thank you.
How did you not realize that?
I don't know.
We're witnessing a canon event.
You can't use Ice Cube.
I learned that like B movie is named after like B movies in the like class.
Oh, wow. You know, I'm not as surprised by this skew. So, it looks like our highest votes so far, we have 23 people who have voted. Highest vote so far is Ruby OPOC and Sith Resurgence by Lily Orchard. Those are the two tying at the top.
Okay.
So, now, I'm going to, if you guys go, everyone go to live chat, if you will, because I can just create a quick poll. Start a poll. First one is going to be Ruby OPOC, and the other one is going to be Sith Resurgence.
Looks like Sith Resurgence won by 1 vote.
Oh, did it? Did I need?
Yeah, I just refreshed the page.
Oh
and
yeah.
it said
All right. I thought I was gonna have to do that.
Surprised you didn't put Lightlark on the list.
I could put it on the list.
Was Lightlark the one that we watched the video together of? I feel like I've heard that.
Yeah, but do you remember anything about it?
Was that the okay? I remember one was about a tournament. Was that it?
No.
Was it the other one that was about like the different islands and the different people from the different islands with the magic that they were supposed? Right. Okay. I mean, truthfully, no, I do not remember a goddamn thing about that other than like the
exactly.
What's like the critical drinker?
Oh,
Raymond,
thank you, Jose
you should-
Galagarza. Just wanted to say
Raymond,
hello.
you should
and good
do
evening,
the House of Representatives and Senate thing I mentioned last week, where everyone voted on YouTube. You pick those votes, and then we in the server get to vote on those selections.
Oh my god,
dude, that's just too much to keep track of. I'm not gonna be. I don't know how to
You
handle
can just
that.
make a poll in the voice chat that we can vote on.
I mean, it's actually clear that Lily Orchard is leading.
Let's.
I'll
I'll get up Sith Resurgence then.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Lily's being carried by infamy as always.
That's her only claim to fame. It's definitely not her skills.
Is it a book download?
No. Why would it be a book download? It's on
I
Archive
don't.
Of our own.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of what we were where it was. I'm at this point. I'm so used to having things on a PDF or in a book format or something as something that's external to a browser.
Look, Moopa's fic and also the novel were the exceptions. The only other time that we have to do anything PDF is when it's a novel.
Right. Would I reveal my Google's history on live stream for $5,000? Just a question, not the real deal. That's an interesting question. Would I?
Yikes!
So the thing is, I actually do regularly clean my browser history, so I'm not really the most scared of that.
Like my Google history is really boring. Like it's mostly words I don't know how to spell and Star Trek episodes I forgot the season number of.
Yeah, mine is like mostly like Google Drives is like, oh, I'm in Stellar Sentinel files. I'm in Fixing Ruby files. I'm doing all this over here and all this over there.
That tracks.
There's also the
Wait,
fact
hold
that
on.
I have a personal browser versus one that I use for my working life. And then on top of that, if I ever need to go somewhere that I really wouldn't like recorded, I know about incognito mode. So I guess the long answer is yes, I would show it for $5,000. You're not going to see jack shit worth seeing.
Easy
My brother-
money. Easy
Hang on,
money.
I
A
thought
lot
we
of
could
my
download
history-
the archive of our own stories as PDFs.
My browser history is an iceberg of degeneracy.
Oh,
A lot
Thanks
of
for ratting
my
yourself out.
history right now is YouTube videos and obscure mythical creatures.
oh, that's
Alright,
cool.
we don't need to look at your history. Just look at your list of tabs. Open tabs.
Yeah, my tabs almost never close. Actually, I just closed like 5 of them today,
Let me try and use
and
this
I was
as
impressed with myself.
I always close
basis,
tabs.
It's back.
Oh wow, this is going to turn up very small on screen.
This is the interesting conversation we're having here.
Yeah.
You
why don't we
okay
even
there,
actually-
Raymond?
Yeah, just arranging this is getting kind of tricky. I'm trying to figure out how to best.
How's your mic system?
Can I zoom out? Maybe no. That's tiny. I'm trying to. Oh God, is there a way to resize shit on AO3? It's been a while since I've needed to arrange shit on this.
Well, why don't you move a bit of the chat to the side or something?
Leisurely to the left.
So, has anyone been doing anything interesting lately?
I finally bit the bullet and got in the Helldivers 2. So that's
Oh,
nice.
did you read the super chat?
Which super chat? Yes, the Jose
$5 one.
The
Okay.
Jose Gallagher. Yeah. He's just saying good.
I got into a car
good
crash.
evening, which I very much appreciate.
Oh shit.
Sounds fun.
Yep.
You good?
Yeah, it was a hit and run, so. Fuckers didn't stop.
Remember, guys, we're on live stream.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know why, now that we're on live stream, that you guys are now starting to misbehave.
I mean, it's just a car crash. Dog.
We like to reserve our best tricks for an audience.
Beat your own justice. Dox the person who crashed into you right now.
I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Okay, I guess I'll move this off.
I would if I knew who they were, but they didn't stop.
All right. Well, I guess I'm blocking the chat now. That's great. Is it still not going to be enough? It's not going to be enough, is it? Oh no.
I said, why don't you just move the chat? Yeah.
I did move the chat, and it's still not going to be enough.
Just leave it, Raymond.
There we go. All right, I got
People.
it. I got it. It's a lot of finessing. I want it to look good. All right, I'm allowed to have professional standards a little bit. All right, I can have some professional standards as a treat.
Who are you trying to make available to see it? Somebody who is like half blind, who needs like a font in the 50s?
We have standards here?
I literally just downloaded it in PDF form. And I can read it like thinner like that.
Oh my god. Okay, well,
Why
I have to
do
do some math here because there are 48 chapters. There are 48 chapters, and it's 346,000 words.
Jesus Christ.
So
All right, let's start.
346,777 divided by 48.
All right.
Jesus Christ, it is 7,200 words per chapter. Oh, God.
Really? Why?
Lily, like, how does Lily make money where she can afford to just do this?
Okay, I'm gonna head you
How does
off there
she-
because no one does this and is sane. If you do fan fiction, you're not sane. Oh, Lightning, did you send me the PDF? Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll download that after this because I want to kind of get the the ball rolling on this, and I've already got the setup. But like, that's
Already
very appreciated.
7:35.
Yeah, it's 7:35. Well, it's 10:35 here, and we have apparently 7,000 words to get to. Also, she has custom art for it, which honestly, not gonna lie, kind of dope. That's
pretty sure that was not her that drew it.
Well,
pretty sure she always gets her wife to do it.
I mean,
Oh
okay.
yeah. Oh fuck. We're reading this Lilyfic. Yeah, she gets her wife to do it.
Well, okay. No, but the point is, like, I do appreciate that there's effort put in that respect. I actually respect authors.
No.
Really?
No, probably.
No.
We don't respect the arts here.
We respect the wife's effort, not the writers.
For not looking very black, and basically the artist just got into a big technical argument about the different levels of curly hair for black people and why it was actually all fine.
Wait, is she supposed to be black?
Yeah, she's supposed to be black.
Huh. Okay.
There you go.
I was gonna say, look, I am going into this trying to give the a shred of benefit of the doubt, and I can say what I typically like seeing with a fanfic is, hey, you have cover art? That's neat. I think that's neat. All right, positive out of the way. The one positive out of the way. Like, there's probably a billion negatives surrounding it. What is respect?
I typically don't give props to writers who have to supplement their writing with art, because that usually means that their writing isn't very good if they can't properly describe to you what the scene is because they have to draw it instead.
What if they just like?
I thought it was a cover. I mean,
No, scroll down, Raymond.
Oh no, that's not what I was talking. I was just talking about the cover art. I didn't know she had more art in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Okay, see, completely different context. I like the cover art because I think that's fun. That's fun for a fanfic. You have cover art. Great. I didn't know you started using it as a picture book. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have delayed long enough. I don't know even how long this chapter is. I think roughly...
Yeah. You've delayed long
said,
enough. The Ruby Kingdom Hearts parody is actually winning the polls now.
Oh no!
You didn't close the poll.
You can salvage this. You're saved.
No,
let's just go on with this.
Let's go on with this. Don't worry. Maybe chapter 1 is so bad we'll just check out. All right.
Fingers crossed.
Check out and go to the runner-up.
Then we'll figure out where to go. Here we go.
It's not that merciful.
So everyone remember the rules. Me and Twy are priority speaker. We expect you guys to be quiet. And you can have your comments and jibes and such, but when we're speaking, and we will call you out on that. Anyway, Aliana let out a strained groan as she trudged through the sands of Jakku. She hated desert planets. They were hot, devoid of life, and only inhabited by the Hutts looking to capitalize off the waste left by the Republic. Jakku was no different. In fact, it was more infested with Hutts than ever after the Galactic Civil War ended, and Star Destroyers were left all over the planet. Unfortunately for Aliana, Jakku was also the closest place to Odesson with a scrap dealer, which she was finding herself in increasing need of as her ship continued to age. She glanced back at the dwindling silhouette of the Fury, an old Sith Empire ship that she'd grown too fond of to throw away for her own good. That ship was going to be the end of her one of these days, and the sand in her shoes scratching up her legs told her that today just might be the day. She turned her attention back to Nema Outpost, because it was filled with Nema toads, and continued trudging her way through the sand, and once again cursing her attachment to the Fury. The ship was simply too recognizable to be landed closer to the outpost. The Empire and the First Order hadn't bothered to change their aesthetic design, and the Fury looked too much like an enlarged TIE ship to be expected not to draw attention. And as such, she was forced to walk the large distance through the dunes and sand of Jakku. You know what? She said to herself as she kicked her foot into the dune, kicking up a cloud of sand. I really hate this stuff. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. It was an hour before Aliana made it to Nima Outpost, and the first thing she did was find herself something to refill her water tankard with. There was water tankard. You're carrying a tankard on you? Why not a bottle?
Yeah.
Woman, carry a
Yeah,
bottle.
when you're singing a merry tune around the bar, you raise your tankard of recycled water.
Oh dear.
The character being attached to her ship is probably a trait lifted from Trixie and MLP, who had a thing about being attached to her wagon. Oh, fuck. Are we going to... Oh, is that what we're going to be doing? We're going to be psychoanalyzing this exactly now? Oh, God.
We're finding all the pony parallels.
Oh.
Like I said, I don't think that she has a creative bone in her body.
Now that I think about it, how many of our quote-unquote antagonists so far in Bad Fanfiction Night have somehow made it back to being a pony reference? Because I know Mycan has a whole thing about the ponies. I just feel like
Yes.
there's a common trait with toxicity in the pony fandom.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that Mycan is necessarily a fan of My Little Pony. He just writes hate fic for it. Because he got personally offended that it's about friendship being magical. So he wanted to teach the ponies a lesson about how friendship is not magical.
God, Mycan, I love you so much, you fucking idiot.
Pony friendship is mundane.
Friendship is magical, and I'm a fucking muggle.
There was no shortage of people willing to trade water, but they always wanted something of value instead of the typical hut currency. Currency was flimsy out here in the backwater world, especially when there was little to buy with it. Even Nima's own goons traded in ration packs, sealed packages of polystarch and veg meat that provided a lot of nutrition at relatively low cost. They were made for soldiers, but for the hungry and desperate scavengers of Jakku, they were worth more than Electrum. 1/4 portion. Hence why money was of little use out here, and the only thing of value Aliana had was clipped to her belt and far too dangerous in the hands of anyone not equipped to handle it. Okay,
Wait,
listen, I'm
she
sorry to
just
tell
opened-
you, but like... Oh, you mean a lightsaber. Okay, never mind. I was going to go off on... Never mind.
Wait,
All right.
and she
No.
and she just open carries that shit?
Open carry.
Dumbass. Dumbass.
I'm going to call streaking open carrying now. No treating her lightsaber was out of the question. If her mother could have seen her even entertain the idea, she'd have never heard the end of it. Aliana had supplies on the ship and tradable goods. In a pinch, she could always barter with what she had on the ship and return to fetch it. But for now, she needed to find someone willing to trade. She kept looking for someone with an icon above their head that indicated they were a shop. She did manage to fill her water tanker by stealing some ration packs from the concession area and trading them to a moisture farmer. It was crude, but it would make the trek back to the Fury all the easier. And besides, the huts have plenty of money and resources. They can handle a few skimmed ration packs. Okay, so we're quickly learning that she's a thief. Got it. Not a good start.
Yeah.
I assume, is this the black character?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bad start, but you know what? We'll see.
Her lightsaber is red.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She is a Sith. I forgot that was the whole
Yep.
name of the fic. She did manage to fill her water tanker by stealing... or a lot of skimmed ration packs. Aliana thought as she briefly considered swiping the lot and handing them out like candy. It would certainly help the funny looks, at least. With a heavy sigh, she made her way to the scrap dealer. Not a lot sold on Nima Outpost. It was mostly a place for scavengers to turn in their finds. But enough of them had speeders that it became worthwhile to keep some stock for sale. This, of course, only attracted smugglers, hermits, and Aliana herself to the planet to get universal ship parts for cheap. She approached a miserable-looking human at the scrap table. "Morning, Treg," she said cheerfully. Treg was a lovely soul, a helpful dealer who always managed to help Aliana find exactly what she needed. Well, with a little persuading at the very least. Treg looked up, his face wrinkled in disgust when he saw her. "What do you want, Sith?" Aliana rolled her eyes and sat down.
I need a hyperdrive coil. The Fury is on its last legs, and if I can't get a new one, I'm not going to be doing any more jumps now, am I?
Treg snorted and looked back down at the scrap, trying to scrub the dirt off a capacitor.
One stranded Sith. Sounds like the galaxy is already a better place.
He looked down at his junk pile and continued sorting through it.
Well, that's where things get bad for you, Treg, Aliana smirked, because a stranded Sith hanging around your outpost is pretty bad for business. I mean, with all this sensitive equipment, it would just be terrible if there was...
She extended a finger and a jolt of force lightning zapped a few small components, causing them to spark and explode.
An accident.
Treg growled at her, but didn't retaliate. He learned the hard way not to cross Aliana when she needed something.
Look, even if I wanted to help, I don't have a hyperdrive coil. You're just going to have to look around and see if a scavenger is feeling generous.
Aliana looked around the outpost. Grungy, dirty, and the perfect picture to go alongside the word rust heap. The scavengers of Nima Outpost didn't fare very well. The huts kept them busy tearing apart the crashed ship for scraps of rations, and those that didn't die in the desert always looked like they were close to keeling over from sheer exhaustion and hunger. This did mean that scavengers could be easily bought, more so than the huts. A good full meal and a few free ration packs, and most of the scavengers would gladly part with anything. On more than one occasion, Aliana had managed to get a hold of expensive parts for her ship simply by giving a scavenger enough food to last them a week. A few years ago, in fact, when she was just a teenager, Aliana had come to Jakku with her mother and had spent most of the day with a very young, very distraught-looking scavenger who seemed to struggle to pull parts off a downed speeder. It was probably one of the only times during those days that Aliana had risked drawing her lightsaber on a planet, as she sliced parts off the speeder and handed them to the girl. She'd even left her small plasma torch to cut parts off herself when it was time to leave. It was a nice... It's totally Rey. She's talking about Rey. She's going to run into Rey. Yep. She's going to romance Rey. It's going to turn out Rey's her little sister because I'm betting that's what's going to happen.
Not...
Oh.
Wrong.
That girl had apparently died from starvation after too many unproductive days.
No, sorry. Not buying it. Not buying it.
We didn't see the body. Sighing, Aliana stood up and made her way to the concession area, hoping to find someone willing to trade a hyperdrive coil, or who even had one. Guess we'll trade off Twy. I don't know where the breaks are going to be ultimately.
Star Wars is now a Disney product, so Disney that's me, no body, no death.
2 hours into her search, and she already was in luck. Aliana was certain that she'd be on Jakku, shaking down scavengers for a better part of a week. A young human girl was standing in the lineup to turn her scrap on the tray that she was dragging and on the tray she was dragging was a hyperdrive coil. The Sith eyed the girl curiously as she was looking around the concession area, as if trying to keep tabs on every single person walking around. It was odd behavior, Aliana thought. It seemed as though scavengers on Jakku kept their hands to themselves and didn't try to steal each other's scraps.
What's just people in civilized society not fucking each other over? Gasp.
I think that's Rey.
Oh, this
Aliana had to admit that for a scavenger who was covered in dirt, sweat, and grime, she was exceptionally pretty. Her hair was tied back in tight buns, and her tunic was tied in a very flattering fashion around her. Aliana's eyes trailed down to her arms, noticing how firm and toned they were. Hauling parts all day, every day would certainly make someone quite strong. Aliana was almost sure that the girl could lift her easily if she tried.
1 minute, I'm going to try this. Perfect.
I hope it's not copyrighted.
Where was that on the soundboard?
That's not. It's someone else's soundboard, probably. We only have 2 things on the soundboard, I'm pretty sure.
She didn't approach. She usually didn't approach scavengers until they were offered a meager price by Unkar Plut, so she could swoop in a much better offer. She counted herself lucky that the scavengers dealt in ration packs, because she was always stocked to the teeth with them. They were quick, cheap, and came in handy if you were stranded on a planet waiting to fix your ship. She'd learned the hard way to always keep a large stock on the Fury. It was almost laughable that the Hutts shortchanged the scavengers so heavily because ration packs cost less than the credit to make. Aliana could spend a few hundred credits and simply destroy the Hutt's entire operation if she wanted to. Jakku was a scam of the highest caliber. The Hutts rake in money from salvaged parts, and the scavengers were forced to beg for less than crumbs. Were she in a better position to do something about it, she'd have had Plut's head mounted on the front of the Fury by now. The girl had finally approached the counter and hefted the hyperdrive coil up to Plut to see. Plut looked it over, then frowned before offering the girl a half portion of her ration pack for the coil and everything else on her cart. Now was her chance. "Excuse me," she called out to the girl, who turned to watch her with a startled look on her face. "I'll offer you a better deal for your hyperdrive coil." "And what sort of deal is that?" the girl asked, looking at her suspiciously. Aliana couldn't deny that the girl was strikingly beautiful. Soft features, striking brown eyes, hair that looked much too soft for the climate she lived in, despite it mostly being tied back. In a brief moment, Aliana took to gander. A cheesy line regarding desert jewels entered her mind. She internally slapped herself for being distracted and refocused her attention. The heavy breathing in the background is kind of making this, not gonna lie.
Wait, what? Am I breathing?
Somebody breathing.
Is it me? Am I breathing into the mic?
I don't know.
I'm on the phone.
Wait, Dreadnought, were you saying that to us or were you saying it to someone else? Were you just sitting there breathing into your phone and someone was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Don't worry about it.
You know what? I'm not going to. It's funnier in my head.
"I'll feed you a proper meal and give you 14 double ration packs," Aliana smiled. "All I ask in return is the coil for you to come to my ship and install it. And your name." The girl's eyes went wide. "That's an entire month's worth of food." "I really need that coil," Aliana smiled. "And I'm not so good with the machines." "Deal," the girl said excitedly, holding out her hand. "My name is Ray." "You got a last name, Ray?" Aliana asked, taking her hand and shaking it.
Skywalker. Oh wait, fuck.
You
wrong,
don't want to know.
Wrong film. Sorry.
Martinez Jr.?
Something in Ray's eyes went dark at the question, and Aliana realized that she must have touched a nerve. "I don't know what it is." "Fair enough," Aliana nodded.
Aliana's like,
desperately...
Ray Solo.
Ray Mysterio.
Ray Sleaze Pagano. That's her name.
Okay, my joke was actually Star Wars reference. So I mean,
so Sleaze Pagano.
I guess that's fair, actually.
Okay, boys.
Ray
Aliana nodded, desperately looking to regain a favorable footing in the conversation. "I'm Aliana Benico. My ship is parked a mile out from the outpost." "I have a speeder," Ray nodded, slinging her pack and staff over her back. "Oh, you are my hero," Aliana laughed as she followed Ray to the outer edge of the outpost. "I was not looking forward to another walk through the desert." "Why didn't you just park your ship on the landing pads with the others?" Ray asked, looking back at Aliana with confusion. She couldn't comprehend why someone would trudge an hour through the sand. Someone wearing as much black as Aliana was, no less. "How are you still alive, wearing black in the desert.
That's actually there's a trick to it, but I know a lot of Middle Eastern cultures have a lot of like heavy black cloths. Like
Yep.
that actually does account for like there's a trick to how it actually manages to cool them. I'm not entirely sure how it works.
Yeah, and I think
Does
there's like
Aliana know that?
I think I read about like a force trick where you can like moderate your.
We're not pulling force bullshit yet.
Look, if it isn't in the fanfic, we can say that she hasn't thought of it.
Yes.
That's what writing is about. Like she spent all this time talking about all of this nonsense that doesn't really matter. If she really wanted to, she could spend a moment to talk about how she wasn't all that miserable because of this whatever trick.
At the time, she was also repeating herself.
Yes. I noticed that, like, within the first paragraph. Jesus.
We do not need to dwell this long on fucking errands, please.
I mean, this isn't horrendous so
what
far.
We do. It's not horrendous, but it's still not good.
Right, but
We're not.
I mean,
This isn't horrendous fan fiction night, my guy.
Yeah, that's a really special chat.
Dread, can you not?
Okay.
My ship's design is too similar to First Order vessels, Aliana explained as they reached the speeder. Last thing I need is a bunch of panicked scavengers hurling junk at me. Are you from the Confederacy? Ray asked. I'm independent. Jedi? Why would you think that? Aliana asked. Ray only tilted her head towards Aliana's waist where her lightsaber was hanging. Aliana, with the speed of 1,000 rehearsals, replied, no, that doesn't work. It's just a good bluff. She wasn't entirely certain why she was lying. She never lied about the fact that she was Sith before, but something deep within her compelled her to conceal the truth this time. Smart, Ray smiled as the two mounted the speeder and took off towards the desert.
Okay, so couple of notes here. One, I'm still carrying on that the lightsaber is a euphemism for a penis because that line was too good to pass up. No, it doesn't work. It's just a good bluff. Second, this scene is even funnier if you imagine Ray talking like a German porn actor, like the male one from Pulp Fiction. It's like, I need you to come. I need to come to my ship and repair it for me. I'm not good with the mechanics, and it's like, I have a speeder. It's like, and then what was
it? Really does sound like that.
And the third one, I'm surprised that she didn't like. Well, maybe she's going to in this next section. She didn't really elaborate on them taking off, like cuddling up on the speeder. I feel like that would just be something you take advantage of in this situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone who wants to get hot with Ray. Ray almost couldn't believe her luck. The coil was quite a valuable find, and she'd been incensed that Plut would offer so little for such a valuable piece. She was about to curse him out for his greed when this off-worlder had swooped in with a better deal, almost as if she was watching her and waiting. She had been, which should have been an alarm flag. Even if Ray hadn't seen her, she could practically feel the woman's eyes boring through her. And strangely enough, she was convinced that the stranger had been checking her out. She didn't know why she thought that. She just had a feeling about it. Whatever Ray thought, for a month of food, this off-worlder could stare at her as much as she wanted. You see, this is why I'm getting the vibes. I'm getting the vibes of like, what else can I do for you, ma'am? It's like I'm getting them vibes off of Ray right now.
Yeah.
Admittedly, she had been nervous when she finally saw the Fury. Aliana hadn't been lying when she said it resembled First Order ships too much. In fact, to the untrained eye, the two would be one and the same. But Ray had dismantled Imperial ships and First Order ships before, and this particular design was in neither of the registries. But she now fully understood Aliana's worry about landing too close to Nima Outpost. She would be inviting hostility and possibly violence by doing so. God, her repetition is like kind of, I don't want to say subtle, but she varies up the sentences enough that it's like, you said this, but now you've said it slightly differently.
Yeah.
And like, you have gotten a slightly more clear view of the situation from your description, but you could have done this in like one sentence entirely.
Yeah, she does this with her scripts for her videos too. It's very annoying.
Ray had expected the ship to come from some time before the Clone Wars, but after examining the hyperdrive and cringing at the sheer age of its many parts, it was clear that it was considerably older than that. Based on the fuel converters alone, she concluded that the Fury was 3,000 years old. Oh my god! How is that thing still, like... I understand that it's an old universe, but how does that work?
It's actually really possible. There's ships from the EU that have been flying a lot longer. It's just like maintenance and parts availability.
That's not
okay, but
how that works.
3,000 years and the design of the ships have not changed.
No, that's a legitimate problem with Star Wars. Is that like thousands of years have passed? They've been at the same tech level and appearance and all that shit.
I'm pretty sure 1,000 years is just a week.
But the big issue that I take with it is like, you ship a Theseus at some point where all the internals are something completely new. Like you can't tell that the parts are 3,000 years old. Oh.
Actually, what happens in Star Wars? They replace the old part.
Well, it's her description of it is misleading. Is what I'm trying to get at.
The problem I have is this ship is in Jakku. And it's apparently still functioning.
No, this is a ship that she brought to the planet. This is her ship.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The real question is, who does Lily ship Theseus with?
She's clearly his younger brother.
Nobody, because she hates men.
She has a gender bend at the very minimum.
Yeah.
Based on the fuel
I don't like men much either.
It was in terrible condition for a modern ship, but for a ship so old it was practically pristine. Unfortunately, it was also poorly maintained. Eliana either wasn't the kind of person to maintain her ship, or didn't know how. Considering how she mentioned that machines eluded her, the latter was probably the most likely. Where exactly did you get this ship anyway? Ray asked as she slid under the hyperdrive generator. It's an old family heirloom, Eliana said, sitting down on a crate and watching Ray work. Must be nice, Ray said somewhat bitterly. Family not the bequeathing type? Eliana asked, tilting her head, knowing full well that last time she asked anything related to her family, it almost ended the whole fucking conversation. Eliana, you fucking idiot. Sorry. I may have improvised a little bit there. I don't know, Ray said, her voice hitching slightly. I'll have to ask them when they come back. When might that be? I don't know. Never knew them. How did you guess? The lack of last name tipped me off, she said, fully know well that was a sore fucking point. Jesus Christ, you are not smooth.
How is it possible for someone to have negative Riz?
Only a
I mean, have you seen Dreadnought?
Wait, what?
Sorry, man. Sorry, man.
Yeah, she is not smooth. She's coarse and rough and irritating.
The lack of last name tipped me off, Eliana said, getting off the crate and sitting down beside her as she worked. So how'd you end up on Jakku? If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not recite my life story to a stranger. Ray huffed as she kicked the hydro spanner towards herself. I'd rather just do the job you're paying me to do. Wow, you are getting shot down hard, Eliana. Ray could hear Eliana.
Do you blame her?
No. Ray could hear Eliana fall quiet and then get up and leave. She was glad to have some quiet, but she could feel something, like a wave of disappointment had washed over her. She slid out from under the hyperdrive just in time to see Eliana round the corner looking at the floor. What an odd woman, she muttered, sliding back under the hyperdrive. I don't know why seeing these two together looks so stupid.
So far, are we saying that we would rather have Ray be rooted for to escape this relationship?
Yes, actually, immediately. I have noticed like 5 red flags through this entire thing that Ray is completely ignoring. Because I'm presuming at this point that she thinks the stranger is hot, or no, she's ignoring because she has money. Let's be completely
Yes.
honest. This girl, Aliana, is going to become Ray's sugar daddy.
It's not gotten to the point quite yet where I have to ask if you would rather have Ray in a relationship with her canon love interest in the movies or with this bitch.
Considering this is probably Lily's self-insert, I'd say Kylo's better.
Yeah.
Kylo was just
And-
confused. Let's be honest. Kylo was just fucking confused about what he wanted.
Yeah.
Lily kind of knows what she wants.
Which is a bad thing.
In a bad,
And that's
yeah.
the problem.
Lily knows what she wants. Derogatory.
Flirting versus harassment.
All right, Twy, you're up. I'm gonna hit the restroom while you do that.
I know, I was just adjusting myself. All in all, this was a productive day for Aliana. Her ship was fixed in record time and the hyperdrive was purring like a kitten. This Ray had quite a knack for ships, and Aliana had barely finished cooking when she came in saying that she was finished. The girl had even fine-tuned the hyperdrive and cleaned out most of its parts for good measure. And Aliana was convinced that she'd just been given a rare blessing by the Force. As she set a plate down in front of her, Aliana took to the scavenger's appearance. She was smeared with engine grease and her hair had come free from its knots in places. Aliana had never found the mechanic look particularly attractive before, but she was finding herself unable to take her eyes off Ray.
Ooh la la.
Keep it in your pants, girl. Aliana blinked, having caught herself becoming distracted by the pretty girl yet again. I'll have your ration packs ready after you've eaten, she said, sitting down in front of her. Thank you, Ray nodded, taking a bite before freezing in place. Wow, this is delicious. You made this? Before Aliana could respond, a robotic voice chimed in. Darth Amorosa is quite an experienced chef indeed.
I'm sorry.
Amorosa?
Oh, God.
Like the family restaurant?
Oh dear. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to Amorous.
Also, because I was in the bathroom when I needed to be here. Damn it, I've let you all down. There we go.
That most likely will not get old.
It won't get old because what I love about it is that I love how where it cuts off. It like pick the funniest fucking moment in that song to cut it off. 'Cause I'm just imagining like we're like switching between the perspectives, like Aliana is looking at Ray and we're hearing the saxophone and just cuts the Ray's perspective and it's just dead quiet.
Yeah. It's never gonna get old and it's never gonna get old, and hopefully, since this is going on YouTube Live, not copyright struck.
Dude, it's like less than 2 seconds. We're fine.
But 2 seconds played for like
Stop. No arguing, please.
Got it.
Take it from the experienced YouTuber. I know what I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
Aliana whirled around to see her least favorite stowaway. 2VR8, the protocol droid that came with the ship and was likely just as old. She kept the droid around because without him she wouldn't be able to run the ship. And after 10 years with nobody else around, 2V had become the closest thing to family she had. For all his irritations, she loved the droid. Alas, she could have known that it would have jumped at the chance to praise her whenever the opportunity arose. Ray almost choked on her next mouthful at the droid's words. I'm sorry, Darth Amorosa? Thinking quickly, Aliana put an annoyed face and looked at the droid. Damn thing's got a faulty memory core. Keeps getting me mixed up with one of its previous masters. Previous master? Ray asked, looking suspicious. The droid is old, Aliana lied. About as old as the ship. Well, I would imagine that would be true.
I love the idea is that like Ray is just rock stupid. Like it starts out like Darth Amorosa, previous master, and it's like the droid is old. It's like yes, when things age. It's like she's like just new concepts constantly, and it's just she's like baffled by each of them.
Things.
Also, Darth Amorosa, is that like, because we all know that the Darth naming, the Darth name scheme has sort of like this feel about, it's just other words that have been slightly skewed. So I'm guessing amor is the root of that, as in love, or potentially
amorous.
Yeah, amorous. Like, so I totally see where this is going. You're not clever, Lily.
They weren't always family heirlooms, and I guess they just used to belong to a Sith named Amorosa at some point. And that's when the droid's memory core started to experience issues. That's my best guess, and sadly I could never find compatible parts for him. It wasn't completely a lie. She said as she lied. The ship was old, as was 2VR8, but Aliana's family had managed to keep him in reasonably good condition. She was hoping that it was convincing enough to keep Ray from pressing more details, and for your droid to not, like, correct you. Oh my, have I offended Master? 2VR8 asked. I'm ever so sorry. My name is Aliana, Aliana hissed. Now get out of here. 2VR8 left without another word, and Ray shrugged and continued eating. She was no stranger to faulty droids, and older droids had a hard time with names and identities, so she thought nothing of it. What she didn't think of, though, was trying to get more food by offering to fix the droid, because then that would reveal that she's lying.
You've got to be kidding me.
Ray, I had the fucking Jaws thing going off in my head.
If the droid was as old as the ship, they both likely had a long history of previous owners. Internally, Aliana let out a massive sigh of relief. While she wasn't particularly choosy about who she let in on the knowledge of who she was, in fact she was pridefully announced herself as the Dark Lady of the Sith at times. Sure, honey. She was still cautious with first impressions. She's quite frankly lucky that Treg had not seen fit to out her to the rest of the outpost. It only ever caused problems for her and alienated people when she needed to stay on good terms with. She'd once made the mistake of answering a hail with her Sith name and had been chased across half the galaxy by a Renaissance frigate for months straight.
This is the Da Vinci. We've come for your supplies.
Oh dear.
She shuddered at the memory. It was the closest that she'd ever come to being blasted into space, and she was still nervous around resistance ships to this day. Nevertheless, her caution only extended so far. If she was going to be killed for being Sith, then she'd face such a death without fear. But there was something about this girl.
Dear.
Initially, Aliana had planned to smooth-talk Ray into bed with her for the night, and send her off in the morning. She'd done it so many times, it was practically second nature. But the more they spoke, the more uneasy she felt about it. It was as if, now that she'd gotten to know her, she didn't want to just sleep with her and throw her out the door. That was part of the reason she concealed her identity. The more they talked, the more she liked this girl.
You guys have talked for a grand total of like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure announcing yourself as a Sith is like announcing yourself as a Nazi in the middle of I don't know, but
Thank you for referencing them on my live stream. I'm sure that will you warning me about demonetization because of music, and then you go dropping a sensitive word on YouTube. You got to be careful there.
Sorry about that, but you know what I mean.
You know, we might have to like mute you for a while because this is like your 5th time being told.
Fine, mute me.
There you go, Ren.
It's good for now. You've been warned. Was it? You are not immune to hot mechanic girl.
Also, bonus
Okay.
points. Oh,
So what do you do? Ray asked, looking up from her plate. Aliana jolted as she was pulled from her thoughts and momentary blanked. I do a little bit of everything, really. Mercenary, bounty hunting, deliveries, wet work, anything I can do to get by, really. Ray choked again, dropping her plate onto the seat beside her and pounded her fist against her chest. Wet work? All my targets are first order, Aliana assured her. Republic SIS has a lot of people out there picking off stormtroopers and officers. They actually have a bounty out on Kylo Ren, but not a lot of people try to take that job. Why not? Ray asked, sitting forward. She was always interested in news from the galaxy, especially regarding the latest galactic war. Ren's a dark Jedi, Aliana explained. With the Force and the working lightsaber, you're a dangerous target. Back during the Clone Wars, the Jedi became famous for being one-man armies that left trails of bodies in their wake. I thought the Jedi were guardians of peace? Ray asked, looking puzzled. Why are they leaving bodies?
Why are they?
How do you think?
Why are they leaving bodies? They were killing droids. They were leaving scrap. Like, if you're leaving body, the only person leaving bodies of the Jedi are the ones that defected, like freaking Vader. Like, come on.
Nah, if you're Mace Windu, you're leaving bodies and severed heads.
Fair.
How do you think you guard peace? Aliana asked. A lightsaber isn't meant to be a flashlight. Ray thought about Aliana's question for a moment, then nodded. She wanted to argue, but couldn't really think of how one was supposed to be a guardian of peace during wartime, other than to win said war. I really hate how she's characterizing Ray as kind of a child. Like, she's infantilizing her a little bit with how much she doesn't know about anything.
Well,
yeah.
To be fair, how much we never really established how much Rey actually is supposed to know. Like, she's supposed to be sort of like secluded. Like, she lived on a planet with no massive communication, but she knows some things and then not some things. I remember that being kind of an inconsistency someone pointed out.
She knows who Han Solo is exactly, but she doesn't. She thinks Luke Skywalker was made up somehow.
Right.
It's.
I mean, that could be explained by, like, Luke fucked off for a while, however many decades, and or however many years, and Han is still, like, bumming around. You could still occasionally hear about him.
Oh, she also didn't know that the Millennium Falcon belonged to him. Just a little bit harder to understand. It's like that one fucking won the war. They blew up 2 Death Stars using it. Like, it helped in both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think part of the infantilization is because Rey needs to be an idiot not to pick up that this is a Sith Lord she's talking to as well.
Oh, absolutely. That is absolutely the reason why.
It still doesn't make it gross. Not gross, I mean.
It's Lily we're talking about here.
Rey has the self-preservation instincts here of a lemming. Let's be very clear about that. And I mean the lemmings that were, like, we were lied to about, that, you know, everyone says ran off the cliff, but we're just forced off. Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna... Alright. So, have you met any Jedi in your travels? Rey asked. Aliana had to resist the urge to bristle at the question. Brushing a strand of thick, wavy brown hair from her face, she put on a face of indifference. Can't say I have, she replied. They were all wiped out after the First Order started to rise up. Rey narrowed her eyes slightly. For whatever reason, she didn't feel satisfied with Aliana's answer. Or rather, unconvinced. It's just, she started. You seem to know a lot about them. I'm well read. Aliana said plainly. How much? It was Aliana's turn to narrow her eyes at Ray. You pressed me on this right after saying you'd rather not recite your life story to a total stranger. Ray felt her next words die in her mouth as she was looking down on the plate she had set aside. Fair enough, she said.
Yes, woman, stay in your lane. It's like, wait.
Yeah. Only I'm allowed to ask the questions.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm having some sinus issues today.
I was gonna say,
My
you sound very
apologies.
sniffly.
Like, my nose is clear except for the very back of my throat.
Alan Walker, you just got here. Well, we're nearing the end of the chapter. We're first of all, this is bad fan fiction night. So why would you presume we're dealing with good fan fiction? That's a very important question I want to ask you. What did you expect when you clicked on the title of this video?
Maybe the fan fiction is good, but the night itself is bad.
Fair. That's interesting.
We're just having a bad time here, guys.
I am currently reading this outside in a rainstorm at -5 degrees Celsius, trying very desperately to keep my Wi-Fi connection going. It's a very bad night, but the fan fiction is quite good.
There's no.
Apart from the bad Wi-Fi, that actually sounds pretty pleasant. Not gonna lie.
A -5 degrees Celsius rainstorm does not sound fun to me.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You need to get at least -15 for me to feel cold.
We'll make it -5
What are
degrees
you?
Fahrenheit. Anyway,
I think Twilight's the Phoenix here.
no. But I was gonna say, like, no, it's bad. This is a bad fanfic. This is so far we're noticing a lot of red flags in this fanfic, and it's kind of fun for them.
Yeah.
Both like in universe and out.
Aliana felt a slight twinge of guilt at Ray's rather deflated expression. Did you want seconds? You know, before you go? Ray's face lit right back up. Oh, yes, please. I mean, so long as you're offering. I wouldn't want to impose. Aliana smiled. No imposition at all. I'll be right back, she said, making her way back to the kitchen. When she returned, the two continued to talk as they ate. Topic ranged from the First Order to ways to upgrade the Fury to be a more reliable modern ship. As they spoke, Aliana found herself quite liking Ray. It was rare that she got to converse with someone on such a personal level, where it almost seemed like they were friends. Usually it was potential employers and security she mostly spoke to. Maz Kanata, maybe, but that old pirate seemed much more like an elder than anything else. Because you can't befriend old people.
I mean, plenty of friends.
Also, so of course she knows Maz Kanata as well. Like, it just happens to know everyone in the universe.
Ray was like Aliana's polar opposite in every possible way. A gearhead, where Aliana was a scholar. A scavenger, where Aliana was a freelancer. About the only thing that they had in common was the fact that Aliana could sense that the force was strong with Ray. Sadly, she couldn't broach that topic without revealing herself. When Ray finally packed up her things to leave, Aliana handed her a container filled with double ration packs. She didn't tell her, but Aliana had actually put 30 packs into the container rather than the 14 they'd agreed upon. They shook hands, and Aliana stood on the ramp of the Fury as she watched Ray speed back into the desert. Aliana remained on the ramp long after Ray had gotten out of sight, mulling over the day. It had been nice to have Ray around for the last few hours, and she quickly hoped that if she ever came back to Jakku, that she would see her again. Ray had been helpful, talkative, friendly, and Aliana was embarrassed to admit that she couldn't take her eyes off her. She was almost certain that Ray could have caught her blushing if the room was light enough to show. Sighing, she turned to go back inside and prep the ship for launch, when a sudden wave of terror, hatred, and death washed over her. She was so overwhelmed by it that she fell to her knees on the ramp. Then, as quickly as it had come, it vanished.
What?
Aliana recognized it instantly. She'd felt the murder of a lot of people coming from the direction of Tuonno, the village that worshipped the Force and were always trying to rebuild the Jedi. Aliana had always tried to stay clear of that village. She never would have assumed that she would be welcome around people who allied themselves with the Jedi, much as she was always curious about the village's people. Getting to her feet, Aliana hurried inside and prepped the Fury for launch. Jedi called her no, she wasn't about to just ignore what she'd felt.
Little did she know, it was simply the fact that she ate cheese.
Nah.
It turns out she was lactose intolerant. Aliana stepped off the Fury and was struck cold by what she saw. The village was in ruins. Bodies were scattered everywhere. An X-Wing fighter was burning on the outskirts of the village. None of the corpses seemed to have any weapons or appeared to be militant or hired thugs. As such, she could only conclude that the village had no real defenses with which to fight back. It was a proper one-sided massacre, as opposed to all those improper one-sided massacres. There's an art to it, all right? You gotta make sure you get it right. But worst of all, she could feel the dark side of the Force lingering in the air. It smelled like burnt rubber, vaguely of lilacs. I'm not entirely sure why that one. It was faint. Whoever had done this was clearly inexperienced, but she knew this was done by a Force user. Darth Symbius. If we remember, that should be the name we use for her whenever Darth or Morris comes up. Taking a deep breath and preparing herself for the worst, the Sith drew her lightsaber and cut through the fallen barricades of the village. There had to be someone still alive. Her lightsaber remained active as she scoured the village for any signs of life or even a clue as to what had happened. The sand shimmered.
God, look at her tiny hand.
Teeny tiny. The sand shimmered a bright red in the glow of her lightsaber as her eyes darted to every inch as she could see. Almost everyone was dead, but she could sense a brief life still flickering. Through her persistence, she finally found it, an old man curled up in the sand. She hurried over to him and held her lightsaber aloft so she could see his face. "What happened here?" she asked, examining his wounds. A large, smoldering gash could be seen right across his chest. There was no mistaking it. He had been cut deep by a lightsaber. There was nothing she could do for him. A cut this deep and wide was fatal. The old man coughed and looked up at her. "The First Order!" Aliana huffed. She should have known. Like, what did they want? "Skywalker!" The old man heaved. "Can you help? I'm like bleeding. Oh, they took the resistance pilot, but can you really help? I'm bleeding. Ah!"
Hey, lightsabers cauterize. All right.
Aliana quickly tried to piece together everything. Look, if he moves, he's ripping that shit open. Aliana quickly tried to piece together everything the man was saying. The First Order was looking for a Skywalker. That had to have been Luke Skywalker, the old Jedi Master. And they took a Resistance pilot? What for? The Resistance had no idea where Skywalker was. Nobody did. Then it dawned on her. The old man did. He told the pilot. She felt a hand on her face and looked back down to see the old man touching her cheek. "You're not a Jedi. You're too late." Aliana shook her head. "I'm a Sith Lord." "Will you help?" "Old man, no!"
He's doing this.
Your immediate reaction
Sith
should
Lords
be...
don't typically help,
Your
no.
immediate reaction should be, "Oh, I'm going to die now." Just make it quick. Aliana stared down at him, her heart racing. She tried to stay out of the war between the Republic and the First Order beyond a few odd jobs. She wasn't as a desired ally for the Republic, and she decapitated herself before she considered joining the First Order. She had always tried to help whenever she could, but operating from the shadows and usually in nothing nothing big. She's winning bigly with that. That actually, fairness to her, her grammar hasn't been terrible this entire time. I'm actually refreshed by that at times.
we've had a couple of fanfics where the person knew how to spell competently. Doesn't mean that their writing is good, though.
Exactly.
I don't know. Competently is a pretty easy word to know how to spell.
I don't know. If you're dyslexic, you can trip over a couple of that.
Well, yeah.
We got spell check
That's
on
true.
Chrome. There's no real. You don't get credit for spelling.
Getting involved and helping in a way that the old man was asking would mean stepping into the sunlight. And sunlight was dangerous. Not you're black, you're fine. But put SPF 5, you'll be fine.
No. Wait. They still sunburn.
Yeah, that's what I said.
but
SPF
it's
5.
harder for them to sunburn.
Yeah.
She's a vampire, clearly.
Okay, that's fair. Vampire, got it. Knowing she was probably going to get herself killed, she nodded, "Yes, I will." Why? Like, why? You don't know this guy. You don't know anyone here. Why are you getting involved?
I know why. We'll get to the end of the chapter before we discuss this.
The old man seemed to relax and his hand slipped from her cheek. "Thank you, Sith. I really shouldn't be trusting you with this block." His head lolled back and his breathing became raspy and shallow. Knowing how much pain he was in, Aliana brought her lightsaber to his neck and quickly severed his head.
Ooh.
Could have just, right through the chest. You don't have to. I guess it's fine at this point. She was going to bury him anyway. She looked away from his body.
I mean, if she really didn't want him to suffer, she should have just put it right through his skull.
Yeah. Use it like use it like the eraser in Photoshop and just like delete his body.
the doodle mob eraser just.
It's a well-known thing that the brain will still feel pain for at least 10 to 20 seconds after you sever the head.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. She looked away from his body. I would try to talk, honestly. Through the pain, I would try to be like, my head. She looked away from his body and started back towards her ship. She just promised to help, but now that why can't I read that sentence? She just promised to help, but now what was she supposed to do? As she was about to head up the ramp to the Fury, she spotted something out of the corner of her eye. A small divot in the sand that stretched out into the horizon. Something had been rolling out into the desert. Something that had been here not too long ago. It was headed vaguely in the direction of Nima Outpost. With any luck, it would be there by tomorrow afternoon. With a new resolve, she got back into the Fury and prepared to return to the outpost. It looked like her stay on Jakku was going to be a little longer. For new readers looking at the word count and wondering, Ray and Aliana get together in chapter 14.
Thanks.
Thanks?
Thanks for spoiling.
Yeah,
wow, okay.
Wait, Lily actually wrote that.
Yeah, she spoiled her. Oh, no.
Insane.
There are comments.
Ooh,
Yep.
From the fans.
They don't show how things are arranged. Nice. So glad you're doing this. I'm excited for more of the Valid Sith. This is a wonderful first chapter. It's exciting. I'm trying to find anything that sticks out. I can't remember.
It's all Lily's sycophantic fans, I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember.
Oh,
it is. Can you delete comments on? You can't delete comments on fanfiction, can you?
You cannot delete signed in comments on fanfiction.net. You can completely curate your comments on AO3.
Right.
So if you leave any kind of negative review or even a review that just doesn't absolutely kiss your ass, you can delete it.
Do you think it would be immoral to use ChatGPT in this circumstance and write a scathing review of her first chapter, but then tell ChatGPT to make an innocuous one, but every first letter of every word is the actual scathing review? So it's like a review in what's that called? Where you just put the first letter.
Okay, is that a comment or is that just you?
That's just me joking. That's just me joking about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, night Muka.
Okay, so
we're done with the chapter. We are done with the chapter.
She,
we're just scrolling through the sycophants.
Yeah.
Does she know how to use the Force, right? I thought people who I thought Force users know how to use like the Force as a sedative. She didn't have to do the head cutty.
Well, that wouldn't be awesome.
Okay,
So,
why is a Sith showing mercy?
Because she thinks that Sith aren't necessarily evil. That is why.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, no,
Yep.
a lot of people believe that.
Yeah, she's one of them. She thinks that it is wrong for the Star Wars franchise to treat somebody who desire power as being someone who is evil, and that if you desire power and freedom to be able to do what you want, that doesn't make you evil. Therefore, you can be Sith without being evil.
Well, desiring power and freedom doesn't make you evil. Abusing that power and freedom is what makes you evil, and that's what Sith do.
The idea of the Sith, like, I find it interesting because the Sith, I don't think are strictly evil, but like
no, the Sith are evil.
Well, and what I mean is in the sense of like, you don't have to necessarily commit evil acts to necessarily be a Sith. However, the philosophy of the Sith lends itself quite clearly to committing evil.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw one of her things is anti-capitalism. Oh God.
What
the fuck?
She sounds like a Slytherin fan.
Oh,
This is, I mean, well,
Okay,
I
but
mean, the
Slytherin
thing
kinda
most people get
rules.
wrong about the,
I'm
I
joking.
mean, the thing most people get wrong about the Sith is you have to give in to your desires and like have just like a very. It's kind of like what Anakin said. You have to have a very like internally focused mindset. You have to be selfish, and that's one of the core tenets of being a Sith.
Well, Sith very much
Lily...
has overlap with hedonism, which if you go full hedonistic, you are basically evil. Like it's true.
I mean,
Lily
you're not
basically
wrong.
says, "What's wrong with that?"
Okay.
And for me, Slytherin is just like a house whose traits have just been like wildly misunderstood.
So if I might make a commentary on what's happened here, she's been asked to help, and of no benefit to herself, she has agreed to. That is not Sith behavior.
Yes.
That is completely antithetical to Sith behavior. It's like, I am not getting anything from this. Why am I going along with? Why am I giving this guy a mercy kill? Just drop him and walk away. Like, you're
That's
not a Sith.
Even Mandalorian behavior, for fuck's sake. Like, it's not like a lot of characters in Star Wars behavior. They do things for their own benefit. That, like most people actually. It's just, it's like, but you're taking the parallel to enemies from World War II and trying to make them merciful and good. Okay.
Like, what's fascinating is you can explore a character who is a Sith and has moral conflict. Like, I find that idea fascinating. You kind of see it a little bit with what they tried to do with Anakin. Not very well, but he had second guessing and thoughts and that kind of stuff. You have that stuff in there. But we're not looking at someone who is conflicted with themselves and not someone who's given into their... Okay, look, if she were a Sith, she would have taken Rey the minute she thought, or the minute that they were alone and the minute that she thought, man, this is a sexy girl. I'm going to do the deed with her. Like, that would have happened. Like, that is Sith thinking. Especially for Darth Amorous.
I mean, hell, there's a precedent for this happening. She's done this shit before, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, if this was like
a womanizer, not a R word. That was the implication. She's a womanizer, but not an R word. That's what Lily portrayed it as.
That's not how, like, I do not believe for a second that a Sith whose name is specifically enacting the concept of love, which would be a perversion of love in the sense of it being dark side, would not in some way, shape, or form have sort of like those kinds of tendencies. Like, this frustrates me because I
I find the Sith infinitely fascinating, but people seem to just really fuck up what it means.
Well, I mean, the problem is the Sith have been misrepresented so many times, and I mean, you have to really look back into like the history and like the EU and shit to really get like an idea of who they are. But I think that's just part of the problem. It's like we've only seen like Sidious and Vader. We haven't really seen like the OG first ever Sith. I mean, those guys were like monsters of the highest order. Like it's not even funny. Those guys were like straight up just monsters.
Yes, because people called Darth Plagueis, Darth Sidious, and Darth Tyrannus can be good.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you've also got like Darth Ruin, Darth Nihilus. I mean, you had a guy who like literally ate planets. So, you know, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Galactus?
His name was Darth Nominus.
That's not Nihilus.
No, yeah.
Very subtle, that name.
Her
Yeah,
Sith,
I know.
You know what? Yes, her Sith name should be Darth Molestra.
Oh,
Oh, oh no.
Yeah,
And then that would just loop right back around to being another pony reference.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Wait, there's a
Okay.
The Princess Molestia blog.
Oh.
No.
Oh, no.
Wait. What is that?
It's an old like Tumblr blog from back in the pony days.
I think Emma
really
there's a town in New
Even I
Mexico,
know
think.
that meme.
I
Oh,
think Emma there's a
anyway.
town in New Mexico I drove through.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a good time. I think we got a winner on our hands here. We'll see. There's so many red flags in like the best way possible. Because there's misunderstanding of the core concept of the story. There's misunderstanding of the characters themselves. There's clear mischaracterization across the. It's just there's good shit here. I'm excited.
Yep.
What will happen
Also,
next?
there's a video.
Yes.
There's a video where she directly talks about her views on the Sith and how she manipulates the core tenets of Sith in order to make them seem not that bad. So you can say that Sith can actually be good guys, and they're not necessarily evil. Therefore, I can still be Sith and still be a good person.
We should watch that.
I think that might be a Team Jacked coverage. We could pair that with this.
Yeah, if you want to.
I don't know.
Going all in.
We could probably get through the last 33 a bit faster now that there's less of us, and then we can finish out by watching that video.
Oh, so now you're saying it's a good thing that Critter left? No,
No,
I'm kidding,
not at all.
kidding.
I am sad that Critter is gone.
Wait, she left?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
scheduling conflicts and the like.
Ah.
Yeah, so just it's
That's right.
unfortunate, but like
For just like one session or multiple?
permanent. It's unfortunate, but you know what?
She's gonna be
Yeah.
an occasional guest on the stream now, but she is no longer a permanent member of Jacked anymore.
All right. Well, at least we have.
Now
we
it's
have good times.
Now it stands for just Young Kaiser, Celtic Phoenix, and Twilight.
Yeah.
Speaking of, remember to
Are you
catch Team
telling me
Jack
Critter got
streams every
ejected?
single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or I guess 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, depending where you are.
Or in my case, 9 o'clock.
Or wherever he is, where it's 9 o'clock. Anyway, yes, there's that. There's merch on the profile, so check that out. And stick around for more streams every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bad Fanfiction Night. Anyway, I've had a good time. I hope you've all had a good time, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Good night, everybody.